Good evening. This is the Walpole Zoning Board of Appeals. Tonight is Wednesday, December 6th. It is 7 p.m. We have two cases tonight, and the first one's going to be continued. That is case number 22-22, Neponset Valley LLC, 5 Pleasant Street, for a comprehensive permit pursuant to Mass General Laws 40B. This is for a condominium-style development with 24 units in 7 buildings in East Walpole. At the request of the applicant, they've asked for a continuance until January 22nd at 7 p.m. here at Town Hall, and we already have the extension of time until April 30th on that, of 2024. Does somebody want to make a motion to approve the continuation as stated?
So moved.
Moved by Bob. Second by Drew. Any further discussion on the continuance until January 22nd? And today we did receive the peer review and comments on that, so. Okay, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay, next case is case number 2330 for 1 Fox Hill Drive, special permit under section 5B14DD, table of uses of the Walpole zoning bylaws to allow an auto body repair use at the site. And I believe the applicant is here. Do you want to come forward and explain what you have? And we'll get to you next, Mr. Crowley.
I've never done this before, I'm sorry.
So that's fine. What we'd like you to do is just introduce yourself, so we have your name for the record, and explain where you are in the process of your request for a special permit.
Gotcha. So I'm Chris Irvine. I'm the manager at Pole Position. This is Edelson Sequeira, the owner. And essentially what we're looking to do is, I guess at this point, get a conditional approval. I know we don't have all the required documents that you guys wanted, the plot plan and a couple of those other things. I wasn't aware that we needed them because Eddie didn't relay it to me. I was out with personal issues, and usually I take care of the paperwork for him. But essentially what happened is we're kind of on a time limit with the building that we're looking to purchase because we gave them a deposit, and the deposit is supposed to go hard tomorrow. And if we continue it to the 22nd and then it gets denied, then we're out that, and then we can't use the building for what we're anticipating using it for. So essentially, I'm just looking to see if, with the information you have, since we're not looking to expand the building or do anything like that, we're just adding a garage door, if it could be conditionally approved. Obviously, whatever documents and everything you need, we're gonna run for and get for the 22nd. But just if it was a yes or a no on whether or not you have everything, if it could be a body shop.
So to answer your question about conditional approval, that's not something the zoning board can do. It's either approval or not approved. So there's no way we can do a conditional approval. If you want, I'm going to ask if you want to just have a seat. I'm going to ask Mr. Crowley to explain, and Mr. Crowley's the building inspector, and I'm going to ask him to explain where we are in this process. Good evening, Mr. Crowley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jim Crowley, Building Commissioner. So to give background on this, probably 6-8 weeks ago, the applicant came into our office inquiring about this building and can it be used as a mechanic shop. We explained you're coming before the zoning board. He did say there was a time stipulation. I do know Ms. Conroy asked at the last meeting how it got in front of you. I'm the reason it got in front of you. I said I would work with the applicant, try and help in the business, and got him to apply. And I asked Mr. Deshane, could he put him on for the next meeting and with the butters list and everything. All we were lacking was information, and asked the applicant to get us that in time for the meeting. The next time I met the gentleman was the night of the meeting with no information, so that's why I took him to do an extension till the next meeting. Multiple emails, multiple phone calls. I eventually got to meet Chris to talk to him about it as well, requiring the information we got. I recommend it again. They asked for an extension in front of you because I don't see that this meets the criteria or the threshold for the board to make an informed decision on the use with the addition of It's not just cutting a door in. That's not just it's the simplification of it. It's a lot more between zoning board and building. That is why it's in front of you. I kind of tried to do a favour to get someone with a business in the town, and it backfired on me. But they don't have enough anything here that I see. I explained this to them, that I would ask for an extension or withdraw without prejudice until they get everything, because we got the paper, I don't know if you have it in front of you, of a site plan, which we received yesterday evening at 4 o'clock. It's not a legit site plan, it's a rendering, because it's not done by a civil engineer, it was done by UDAC Architects, just to give you a picture of what's coming to a minimum degree, but it's not enough information I see for this board to make an informed decision.
And that's the way I felt when I looked at this. It's not a stamped plan, there's not enough information, it's not showing any elevations or grades of the work that's being, proposed. So, thank you for an explanation of sort of how we got to this point.
Yeah.
So, do board members have any questions for Mr. Crowley on this?
I'm not sure if it's for Mr. Crowley or for the applicant, but just on the architectural site plan that was provided, there's a oil water separator vault shown, but it's not clear. It's just something to think about, like where it's draining to and how it's going to be managed going forward.
Yes, so this was on the list I explained. When you have a mechanic or you put in an overhead door, it triggers plumbing code from our side.
Mm-hmm.
So when you put in an overhead door that a vehicle can drive into a building, you have to have floor drains. That's just a trigger.
Right.
When it comes to which one you either need an aisle separator, which it's labeled as that, but it is not. An aisle separator works if you're on town sewer.
Yeah.
When you're on septic system, which this property is, you need a tight tank system.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it needs to be. So that would be part of their permit as well, that they need to show a tight tank system is going in.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Okay. Anything else? Judy?
I guess, thank you, Mr. Crowley, for admitting that this backfired, because I don't think that's something that, for the business owner and the applicant, I don't see that it did them any favors, and it put things in a tailspin. So
Yes.
if it's required at this point that they withdraw without prejudice, that might be something that the applicant should consider. We just don't have enough information.
Yep.
Hopefully that won't happen again.
So, totally agree with that statement. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the applicant how they want to proceed with this. So, thank you, Mr. Crowley.
Is it possible to continue?
Yeah, we can continue, and that's, right, and I think that's
exactly what he recommended.
Right.
It was the whole deposit thing. I was like, maybe there's a chance. He said, honestly, there's no chance.
Thank you, Mr. Crowley, for being truthful with the applicant, because when you asked me for it, I said, yeah, that's not something that's going to happen. So, Lauren, when can we continue this until?
Do you want to do the 22nd?
So, yeah, we could do the 22nd.
I think because
But-
the third's jammed, so I would recommend the 22nd.
Okay. Can you have everything to the zoning board of appeals a week before the 22nd?
Yes.
So, okay. And that includes a new plans and plans that are stamped and certified so that it's clear what we're looking at. And please, Mr. Crowley clearly has tried to work with you, and he'll continue trying to work with you, so make sure that you have everything in so that it can go smoothly at the next meeting. But have it in a week before, that way town boards can have a chance to review it and make sure it's done. Okay.
I was
Patrick?
going to say, just from the economic development standpoint, I would imagine, and the board would agree, we always want to see new businesses thrive and come to the town, and I think the board would agree that working with the businesses to, make sure everything is done correctly, that's what's important for this board, and I think that's probably why obviously the continuation and making sure we have a correct plot plan, making sure that everything signs off in terms of the oil and water separator. All that information the board needs to make a correct decision. So it's nothing in terms of the business side. I understand that's a whole different element that the town's really not part of, and that's your own, I guess, private matter, personal matter, but I think the board would imagine, the board needs solid information in order to render a decision.
Okay. Hey, any other questions or comments from board members?
John, I just had one question. Is it a auto repair or a body shop with paint booths that they're looking for?
So it's auto body with paint.
You're putting in a paint booth?
Correct.
Okay.
I had a question about the parking. You're gonna create a avenue or driveway to get up into the building, and you're talking about eliminating parking spaces?
Not eliminating parking spaces, so right where that driveway is gonna be, you can see there's a sidewalk that goes to the front door.
Yeah.
So it's essentially gonna be on that same route.
I was at the business today, so I just happened to poke around and take a look and saw how it functioned, and it seemed like the majority of the parking was fixated in the area that you're using as your entrance into the building. And I guess as your plans develop, I'd be curious as to what are you gonna do with those parking spaces because from the time I was there, it didn't seem like anyone used the other side. And again, I just wanna make sure that the rest of the building, what we're working with, it's tough to see as far as what the total plan is, but making sure that we're not taking spaces away from one area to utilize them as your own and whatnot, you know?
Yeah, so essentially what it is the portion of the building that you saw on the right, that's gonna be the portion that we're occupying, and then the left portion, Ad4 currently is a tenant there.
All right,
So they're moving over to that side along with there's 3 or 4 other tenants that rent office space. So all of their parking is gonna stay on the front of the building on the left, and then we're just gonna be parking the cars on the right.
well, so I agree with everything you're saying, and it makes clear sense that, the way you explain it, but people need to park, and that's a busy area where Verizon's back there, and there's numerous other businesses, so I guess as this plan develops, I would just want to make sure that there's adequate space for you to park your cars that you're working on outside and not impede on other businesses that are also working in that same building.
Oh, no, we wouldn't be parking on the street. So at any given time, we typically have about 30 to 40 cars. So roughly 20 would be inside, 20 would be outside. So there's adequate parking for us.
Perfect, thank you.
Mr. Crowley? Yep.
Yeah, so part of the criteria for the parking on this plot will be, because he's changing the use of the building, he has to give us the zoning table, which most plans have, plus he'll have to give a breakdown of what the existing building's been used as with the number of cars, and that he applies to them, and then to the extent of how many cars he's going to have on site pertaining to the garage, and that he's enough parking provided for that as well under our parking code. So he'll have to put that all on the list we gave him, all on the table to show, and that the building inside can hold 20 cars. I don't think it can, but that's going to be up to his architect and his engineer to show that it can to the board.
So, again, please work with Mr. Crowley and Patrick to make sure that you have the information. You might run into you're going to have to show where the parking is going to be for your business, and that it's not being taken away from other areas at the office building. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Crowley? Okay. Everybody else good? Yeah. So, and I just heard that there's going to be a paint booth, so there's going to be ventilation, and you're going to have to even look at chemicals that you're storing there because of the location. So,
That's new to me as well.
okay. So that's, yeah. Again, you can work with, but the more we hear, it seems like there's more things that are becoming necessary, and it's not something we want to do, it's just what's required for the change in use.
And just to the point that they get approved through the board for special permit for the auto body, and then they apply for building permit, and also there's a spray roof and more triggers. They'll be put on hold and sent back to the board. So, as I explained to you, you're better off keep telling us everything up front, because it's going to turn a 2-month process into a 6-month process. Because we're going to keep sending you back to the board every time you add something new.
That's my fault. I do it every day for work. I assume when people hear auto body, they assume paint, but obviously they don't, so that's my fault. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's, I think, again, I think Mr. Crowley has gone above and beyond to work with you to make this, he's been helpful. We'll get you through the process here. Okay, so, anything else? Okay, do you want to continue this until January 22nd, 2024, here at 7 o'clock here at Town Hall? Okay. At the request of the applicant, could I have a motion to continue case number 2330 to January 22nd, 7 PM here at Town Hall?
So moved?
Second?
Moved by Bob, second by Drew. Any further discussion on that? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstained, so carried. Okay. Very good. So you've got quite a bit of work to do in getting all this information, and we will see you on the 22nd of January, but you'll be providing that information to Patrick long before that. Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, we have the minutes from November 20th. And
On page one, excuse me, Chairman.
yeah, go ahead, Drew.
On page one, I noticed it said Mr. Conroy.
Oh, geez, sorry.
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 He wasn't here.
I did
Thank
have
you
to
for
ask
saying that,
myself a
Drew.
couple times. I noticed him in the audience.
Thanks.
Put some comments on page 3, which I can hand these to you after, but I think the top waiver there says, Mr. Lee stated the applicant had opted for unrestricted parking, and I think it was unassigned.
Okay.
I think unrestricted, at least to me, suggests that anybody, resident or non-resident, could park there, but I think unassigned is.
Okay. Thank you.
And then in the second paragraph under that, the word contingency should be contingent.
Involved.
He reminded the board that contingent conditions.
Conditions, okay.
Yeah. And then I'm not sure, the first sentence of the next paragraph, this is stating what you stated, Judy, so I want to make sure that's correct, but it said that you asked if there would be a limited number of cars outlined within the lease agreements. And it wasn't clear to me what that means.
With the word outline.
Where? Oh, 3. Oh, yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Are the limited number of cars, I don't know,
Oh, outlined within the lease agreements.
is it that there would be a limited number of cars allowed per tenant in the lease? I don't know,
Yeah, that's probably a better way of saying it,
I
I
just
think.
wanna
Does
see
that
if
sound
it-
I
right?
wasn't quite sure what that, you jumped up. Yeah, that's, it wasn't clear as what I said, what I said. I don't think I said that.
So changing it to limited amount of cars allowed
in each lease agreement or something?
within each lease agreement, is that fair?
I think, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's what it was.
That's fine.
And while we're saying what I said, the bottom of the page is well put, Lauren, that Mr. Engler was surprised at the feedback. I think he was ready to jump across the microphone.
Is surprised
podium, and
okay to use?
Surprise was okay.
Thank you.
He was a little rude, but we don't have to put the rudeness in, okay?
Got it.
I don't know, page 4, if I specifically said much more important than concerns over the height, but I felt as though affordable housing was more important than the concerns over the height. So, I don't know if I
Much.
actually said that much word, but if I did, then keep it. If not, I would
That's okay, take
rather
it out.
strike that.
Okay, got it.
Well, oh, you know, you weren't talking about intensity, you were talking about the height of the building. Remember you talked about, like, we haven't revised the bylaws for, like, so many years?
Yes,
But it wasn't like, I don't think intensity was what you
I
were...
was never an English major, so.
No, you didn't say...
Sorry, I think I was referring to the intensity regulations. That they, was that it, that they weren't updated?
What are intensity regulations?
Oh,
I don't know what
The
that means.
dimensional regulations, right?
the dimensional regulations?
Yeah, I've
Drew
referred to them
referenced,
as intensity regulations as
I
well.
was
Whatever.
more or less
The height.
speaking to the fact that the regulations hadn't been updated over 23 years, and that
Right.
I felt as though that was outdated to the current state of the building.
Yeah, that's,
I just don't know what intensity regulations are, so if, does anyone else on the board know what intensity?
did I make
I
this
would
up
probably
myself?
change the word.
I would just change it to,
change it
you were
to
talking about the height.
Dimensional.
Intensity, but I
Okay.
apologize.
You did not.
No problem.
You were chewing cough drops, Drew.
He was mumbling.
Mumbling, all right. Okay.
My next one's on the top of page 6. Well, at the end of that sentence, I think the word is topic. Rather
Oh,
than
yeah.
top.
That would be correct.
Put your phone away.
And on page 9, in the, let's see, 1, 2, I guess it's the third full paragraph, Mr. Lee asked if soil testing would be done. And then the response was, Rob Hewitt Fairfield said it would be done during construction. Mr. Lee asked about 21E. Mr. Hewitt said it would be done, but I think he said it was done as part of their due diligence to acquire the site. So
Okay.
I don't think they're planning to do any additional testing for 21E purposes.
Okay.
No.
Does anybody have anything else?
Give it if you- if you'd like,
Oh,
just so
thank
you
you.
have it marked.
Sure, thank you.
Anything else?
No,
So,
no from me.
does somebody want to make a motion to approve the minutes with the edits and the ones that Bob just gave Laura?
So moved.
Moved by Judy,
Second?
second by Bob. Any further discussion on the minutes? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed, abstained, so carried. Good. Does anybody else, you know what? Yes, we do have another topic. I don't know, do you want to discuss Pinnacle, or do you want to hold off on that?
Well, I mean, it wasn't on the agenda, and we could, I
Okay,
could talk about it if
No.
you want
Well,
to.
wait a minute. Oh, hold on. Are you going to talk? I have to go.
okay. But,
You're going to do it now?
no, well, I just asked Patrick, and we don't have to. It'll be on the agenda for our next
Okay.
meeting.
It would be on the, yeah.
And it's just it's more of an update on things. It's not any new evidence or anything, but it's just an update on some of the process.
Yeah.
You'll be prepared to discuss that at the next meeting?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I guess I'll talk to you afterwards. I had emailed town council too, trying to set up a time
Okay.
to speak.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else? All right. Our,
Oh, yeah, it was just printed out, just so we all have them.
Yeah.
Just because we're closer to the
Okay.
2024.
All right.
This is the last meeting in 2023.
Yeah?
this is, so, happy holidays, everybody. We made it through another year of zoning board of appeals, and I wish everybody well. and,
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and we'll get back at this in 2024. Thank
all
you,
those in
everybody.
Washington.
Don't forget
home
the
as well.
laser show on December 16th.
Yeah, laser show.
The grand opening of the
Judy, announce that
300th.
loud so everybody can hear.
Where is it?
The laser show. It's the grand opening of the 300th anniversary of the Town of Walpole. It's here at Town Hall Field, 6 PM and 8:30, two shows,
On
December 16th. Saturday, December 16th.
All right, Drew's birthday. Awesome. Okay, then, that being said, does somebody want to make a motion to adjourn for the year?
So moved.
Moved by Judy, second by Drew. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Good night, everybody.